A business model is a way a business pursues a topic in order to make money. So let's say you're in the retail business like Lowe's or Home Depot. You have a big store, you put product on the floor, and you sell to customers who walk into your store. You could be an Amazon.com and you have totally online business. You have warehouses everywhere else and you ship your product constantly. That's another business model. Another business model might be an insurance agency or various types of travel agencies or such. So essentially, it just means that you're conducting business in a certain way using a certain focus or model. Okay, so that kind of defines our model here. And what we want to do is come down here. They've provided a very nice graphic here. And this graphic gives you an idea of the different kinds of blockchain models. And these different models, all the way from what they call a token economy, blockchain as a service, blockchain-based software products, development platforms, blockchain professional services, a network fee charge. In other words, you create something and you charge a network fee. I'll detail that out in a minute. And P2P blockchain business model. So let's go through each of these and kind of define what kind of business models that they actually are. So as we look at this, I'm going to scroll on down here and I'm going to start, because they don't do it in order of the graphic, which seemed odd to me, the P2P business model, which is peer-to-peer business model. So the peer-to-peer business model is basically what blockchain is. I mean, blockchain is meant to be distributed. It's meant to be, diversified out among a lot of participants. And those participants are peer-to-peer participants. Home Depot has a lot of their suppliers. All their suppliers are peers because they all supply product to Home Depot, and they're all entering their data in the system to track the product. So in that case, the suppliers are peers. But what if Home Depot and Lowe's decided to use that same blockchain for their supply chain? That could happen. They could make use of the same infrastructure. They could make use of the same technology, just like TradeLens did, where they had multiple different suppliers, some of which were even competitors in that marketplace as they transported cargo across the oceans. So we have a situation where the peer-to-peer blockchain model is one that allows the businesses to work in it together. And normally they have tokens, and any business that does work or does entries into the system is incentivized by receiving tokens that can either be sold on the market or sold on the blockchain for real cash, for compensation for work done. So that's the P2P business model. Now, blockchain as a service business model. Here we see highlighted here, three of them. There's Microsoft Azure, there's Amazon Web Services, there's IBM and all of their offerings, and we've talked about IBM quite a bit. So what they offer is they have blockchains that are cookie cutter. They can just join them and use them. They have some for retail, some for supply chain, and a business can just plug into them. Probably one of the most notable ones is IBM has the Food Trust blockchain, where a business such as Walmart, who does use it, can plug into the Food Trust blockchain, have their suppliers join the Food Trust blockchain, and they can manage their supply chain from, womb to tomb, from field to store, so to speak. So that's what blockchain as a business model does. The company, like IBM, owns the blockchain. They own the infrastructure. They keep maintaining it. They probably charge a fee for each of the participants to join. And so they offer the software on their servers and away they go. Okay, so now we get into the token economy. Now, token economies, they have blockchains that the token does the work. And they use the example of Ripple here. And Ripple is meant to be a token used by banks to transfer funds from bank to bank. Trust companies also use it to transfer monies between trusts for real estate sales and various different financial transactions. So what happens is Ripple is used as the mechanism to transfer the money. It's transferred over the Ripple network, and then it leaves the one entity, the one bank, and then goes over to the other bank or other entity where that money then is transferred into the cash that is needed on that other side. So Ripple becomes the mechanism. The cash, you buy the Ripple with it. Ripple then does the work of moving over to another blockchain, and then the Ripple is cashed in and the money is transferred. So those utility tokens are what does the work. In that network, they talk about it should have a proper role, it has features, and it has a purpose. There are other competitors out there to Ripple. Ripple's not the only one that does this, but basically they're just a fee for service thing. There's a little bit of a fee to make that transfer, and the Ripple network itself functions based on collecting those small fees, which are a whole lot smaller than bank transfer fees in the traditional sense. Okay. Then we have blockchain-based software products. Now, all of us know that we can go to a store and buy a package of software. Those are called commercial off-the-shelf packages. And businesses do that all the time. So SAP, for example, is probably the biggest package of software that companies will buy and install. And SAP says, don't monkey with the code, because if they do, the next upgrade that comes along will undo all that code anyway. So blockchain-based software products then would mean, here's a software product. You can use it internally as a more of a Trojan horse sort of blockchain package. I believe that Home Depot is pretty much set up that way, that they just have it in-house and they don't have any competitors joining it that would distribute that data. But there are packages for various needs such as that. And then the businesses just pay for the software and plunk it into their system, and away they go. Okay. Development platforms. We've heard of Solidity and we've heard of Hyperledger. Yeah, Hyperledger. Both of those are development platforms, and there are a lot of other development platforms. Solidity and Hyperledger are probably the two largest ones. Corda is another one, where it's just a development platform. And so in order to use the development platform, a lot of times you'll buy it with a consultant. Corda is open source. Hyperledger technically is open source, but it depends on the vendor. It's kind of like going to Red Hat that distributes Linux. Most companies don't have the ability to program Linux like Red Hat can do, so you just generally buy the whole package. The labor comes with it. So that's basically the development platform side. And companies make money with the development platforms by usually offering their services to install and configure the software packages. So here's one that I struggle to understand exactly how this one does. They mention dApps in here, which are distributed applications. And distributed applications are generally on the Ethereum blockchain. They use smart contracts. There's generally not a corporate structure behind it. The dApp does all the work by itself. So you get into the dApp, you pay a fee so the developers can keep updating the distributed application, but you join the dApp because the dApp does particular work for you. And so what has been postulated is you could have a taxi company, for example, that's totally run on a dApp. You have some corporate infrastructure, but not management, because the dApp totally runs it, kind of like not YouTube, kind of like Uber, where you've got an app on your mobile phone and you can call up to order a car to be brought to you and pick you up and take you where you need to go. They've postulated that a dApp could do the work that an Uber or Lyft company does. with a lot less personnel through smart contracts. So the possibilities are there, and I wouldn't be surprised if in the future we start seeing some company try to move that direction, especially when the autonomous cars are completely authorized to actually drive on our roads. And then there's blockchain professional services. And here's where another hair is being split, because blockchain professional services can come along with the actual blockchain, as in IBM sharing Hyperledger with you, or other companies that actually come and install their version of blockchain. But blockchain professional services basically says, I'm just going to hire a consultant that knows how to do blockchain, and I'm going to bring them in and they're going to do my blockchain for me. So those are the ways in which companies can actually become part of the blockchain movement going forward. In fact, later on, we're going to talk a little bit about how much this is causing a huge demand in the need for blockchain professionals that can actually program. Demand for skills to program blockchain have shot through the roof this last year. And so what I want to do is go over an article here that highlights some research that one particular company did. So let's see some of the details down here. Right here in this paragraph, it says, in analysis published by DevSkiller, an IT skills assessment platform, finds demand for blockchain skills increased 552% in 2020. Basically, it went up by 5.5 times the demand in 2021. That's how to read that. So interest in blockchain is on the rise, likely because of its enhanced security, greater transparency, and instant traceability. The report's authors maintain the report's findings are based on 209,249 coding tests sent through the DevSkiller platform to candidates from 54 countries. So it's fairly widespread. 54 countries is pretty broad, but 209,000 requests for blockchain-related skill assessments. So that's where they're getting their data from. Breaking down the blockchain-related IT skills went into smaller pieces. Solidity was the most commonly tested skill, with 44% share in the number of skills assessments sent to candidates and employees. Beat out hard hat and smart contracts that rounded out the first three positions. So notice Hyperledger isn't even on there, nor is Corda. If you're going to focus, there's a lot of good courses out there for Solidity. If you go to the Blockchain Council, they have a fairly modest fee for joining, and then you can buy courses in the various developer platforms, and they're very good. And they offer lifetime certification once you get it, where you can actually prove to your potential boss or somebody you're applying for a job that you have that skill and that you've been able to demonstrate that. So this incredible information about the potential of a lot of different areas.